for example, right now, right? I got the big green screen behind me, got headphones on. My dogs are currently barking. I think they're barking at nothing. There could be somebody out there right now.
Oh, no, they're
I
not.
don't know.
Yep.
That to me is more terrifying than a doll rolling up on a tricycle asking if I want to play a game. Welcome, everybody. Come on in, sit on down, grab a seat, whether you're in your car, your house, your toilet, whatever you're doing, whether you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, whether you're checking us out on Facebook. We're glad to have you here. Welcome to Rabbit Hole Roulette. I am Matty P, alongside, of course, Tony O, the legend, the myth, the man. We have a couple of announcements real quick here. I kind of just mentioned it a little bit, but we are now on Spotify. If you would like to check us out there under the same name, Rabbit Hole Roulette. We also are on Facebook, again, under the same name, Rabbit Hole Roulette. We are also going to be changing times. We are no longer going to be doing Wednesday, Saturday at 10 a.m. We're going to be doing Wednesday, Saturday at 4 p.m. Why? Because we felt like it. Yeah, it's a lot to unpack. It is.
That's a lot to unpack.
You know, if they're sitting on the toilet, they're still doing all right. Their foot might be going numb by now after the announcements, but they're going to be okay. Do a little wiggle, a little shimmy shake, you know.
4 p.m. is a good time. I like that better. It allows people at work to actually work and then get off work and then decompress with us a little bit.
People at school, people at work, you know, get through your day and then go home and unwind with some conspiracy theories, some fun stories, some outlandish conversations, some debates, you know. Unwind a little, get away from the real life and get into the world of make-believe. Or is it make-believe? Ooh.
I don't think it is.
Oh, 100%.
We can fact check all this stuff.
We don't do anything that we can't find at least some evidence of. It may not be real evidence, but it's evidence. It's on the internet.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, let's...
Hang on, I got to change my Wikipedia
let's
page.
Spin the wheel, see what today's topic is going to be, and then we will jump into some current events. Also, don't forget to be on the lookout for the Rabbits in the Wild episode that will be hitting as one of the bonus episodes for this season. We will be spinning that wheel at some point through some episode. You got to stay tuned. You got to catch it. And if you do catch it, be sure to leave in the comments that, hey, I caught it. It's in this episode at this timestamp. That way it can ruin the surprise for everybody else.
Maybe I'll give you a fancy keychain for that.
Yes. It is all we have.
That's all I have.
We are working on others. Yes.
Currently,
that's what we have. All right.
That's a big expenditure. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, Tonyo, you see the wheel? All right, Tonyo can see the wheel. Folks at home can see the wheel. Let's give it a good spin. For those of you that are maybe just joining us here in season 2, the topics left are the World Hide and Go Seek Championships, Full Moon over Hollywood, Oops, That Became Iconic, You Know the Movie but Not the Story, and a disturbingly good 90 minutes. And 3, 2, 1, let's go.
I kind of hope it's the 90 minutes for Jimmy Swaggart.
Uh-oh.
I just combined those two topics. Nailed it. It's because I messaged Sinbad and he was playing Kazam at that time.
That is also
granted my wish.
To me that doesn't exist anymore. All right, a disturbingly good 90 minutes. All right, before we get into a disturbingly good 90 minutes, Tony O, do you have any current events?
So yeah, specifically, what fascinated me is we just obviously the World Cup was just took place here in the U.S. and have you ever been abroad? Sure, you've been to other countries, right? So I also have been out and about and previously lived specifically in Okinawa, Japan. And it got me thinking to some of these comments about the World Cup here in America and how the majority of the rest of the world think that there's things that Americans do that are just kind of weird.
Okay.
So specifically, obviously we don't use the metric system, right? And that was a big thing that people coming over to watch the World Cup was,
no, we measure everything in freedom units.
They're so terrible. which is so I love that Saturday Night Live skit. What about ice? You know how we put ice in everything? You know that the rest
Not
of the
the
world
ice I
really
thought you were
doesn't put
talking
ice in
about with
things.
current events, but yes.
Mm. Oh yeah, yeah. Thanks, Trump. Yes. Um, so another one specifically is walking versus driving. So a 15-minute walk is where I'm going to take the car for a
Yeah.
quick 2-minute drive. Most of the world
Yeah.
will
Yeah,
walk
most of the
or
world
take a
walks more
bus.
so than what we do, and that's again why we're probably the fattest country in the world. On top of our diet, we're very sedentary.
So another one specifically is
Yeah,
drive-through
again.
for everything.
Again, you're
The rest
proving
of
the
the world doesn't
point.
use drive-throughs. And then one of the last ones, which blew my mind specifically, or last two kind of play together, I read specifically talking about the U.S. has giant grocery stores, whereas the rest of
So
the world
there
does
is
not.
a YouTuber, uh his YouTube name is like L3WG or something. He's like Lug or something like that. He's from England, Europe, right over in Great Britain, and he uh does a lot of reaction stuff, and he does a lot of episodes of Europeans first time experiencing something in the US, right?
Hmm.
And one of the things that blew their minds every time is the size of our grocery stores always blows their minds, and the like portion sizes of our food always blows their minds. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
like
how big
when
they
they go
were.
to a Walmart here is different than going to a Walmart there. Like they're used to going to more like mom and pop shop style things to get what they need. Like I go here to get
Hmm.
my groceries, then I go here to get my cleaning supplies, then I go here to the hardware store to get this. They're not used to one giant box store like a Walmart or a Home Depot or something like that, or a Target, and it usually blows their minds. And also the fact that we'll say something like, "Oh, I'm gonna go take a day trip," like you and I would say, "Oh, we'll drive up an hour to go to Indy, no big deal." You know, they're like,
Hmm.
"I don't want to drive 5 minutes to go somewhere," or we'll say, "We'll drive
Correct.
14 hours to go to
Go to
Florida in one
yep,
day," and they're like, "14 hours, and you're still in the same country?" They're
yep.
like, "We could drive 14 hours and go back and forth from one side of Europe or of England like 15 times." Like these,
I had that
yeah,
same conversation with Sal.
it blows their
The exact
minds,
same
and
and Sal's
it makes me
our
laugh every
British
time
friend.
because I'm like, we see it as so normal to just take a day trip in the car
Yep.
14 hours somewhere, and they're like, "You guys are insane."
It's a good conversation piece
Yeah,
to really put in perspective what things that we do that's just
yeah, it
like,
is not
wait,
normal
what?
everywhere else.
Why do you
And
guys
one
do
thing,
that?
go ahead.
And yeah, so go ahead.
So
No, 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 I
you were
forgot.
mentioning Japan there in the beginning. From my days golfing, I know that in Japan, because of the limited land that they have in Japan, being an island country,
Hmm.
right? They are also big on golf. Well, golf courses take a lot of space. So they have their driving ranges are like multi-level, whereas we just have it
Oh,
all out
yep.
long ways, right? And then on top of that, they have a time limit on how long you can play golf or how long you can take to play a round of golf in Japan. So they also don't do carts there
Oh,
like we do.
fascinating.
Like we have the little golf carts that you drive everywhere. They don't have that there.
Hmm.
I don't think any of them. So when people from Japan come here to work at like a Cummins or an NK or a Toyota or whatever, when they go to the golf courses here in the States, you can tell that this is their first time because they'll have their bag on one of those pull behind carts, the little two-wheeled carts, little dollies.
Hmm.
They will hit their ball. They won't even watch where it's going. They throw the club in the bag and they will take off sprinting,
And start
like
walking.
speed walking, damn near running down the fairway to get to their ball. And it is night and day difference from what you have here in the States where people are out there eating food, drinking beer, smoking a cigar, a cigarette, whatever. They listen to music, they hit their ball, they sit on the tee and talk with their buddies for 10 minutes and then drive off. Like we'll take 4 to 6 hours to play a round of 18 holes. These guys will do it in like an hour flat, hour and a half, because they don't waste any time.
It's fascinating.
It's
That's
just
wild.
it's the difference. It's the
That
difference
all
between the
that's
two.
wild. And so when I lived in Okinawa specifically, I thought was the coolest things. I don't know 19 at the time. I just first time actually away
Mhm.
from where we live now technically, which is surrounded by cornfield. And I get over there, and they had just built this giant mall. I believe it was called Jusco, Jusco. And it was my first experience other than a Walmart that had literally everything from, grocery goods to the dry goods to, apparel to, fresh food. And it was like multi-level. It was the most fascinating thing to me ever to see that. And then to know that that's actually
Yeah.
not the norm. That was just a giant mall, but the grocery part of it was much smaller. I just thought it was all interconnected and all these things. Either all let's say the World Cup got me reading some of these interviews with some of these folks from around the world, and a lot of it, well, they weren't bashing on the U.S. specifically. They were just talking about how strange some of their experiences were here specifically.
Yeah, it's very different. Yeah, it's
That's
very
my fun
different
fact.
from one country to the next. What you see. You ready to get into this
Oh,
topic?
that's funny. All right.
All right,
Yeah,
good.
like 5 minutes ago.
So a disturbingly good 90 minutes. So what could that possibly be about?
I think this is about a movie. I think this is about an hour and a half long movie that probably was not supposed to do as well as it did, or you would think is not very well until you actually watch it and you're like, oh, this is actually fairly well put together. That's what I think. So in my mind, I'm going, oh, this movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Hard Target, seems like it's terrible, but I'm going to watch it. I'm like, oh my God, this is the next best thing to Bloodsport. That's
Well, you're
what
about
I
halfway
think.
right. It is about movies. But specifically,
I
what
also
it
about
is
Jean-Claude Van
about
Damme.
is the current fascination people have with disturbing movies, specifically getting into the
Oh, my
disturbing
man.
movie icebergs, that you see on YouTube all the time. And specifically the three that I want to reference.
Say it. Say them. I'm so
So,
excited, right? I'm salivating.
Trauma, Martyrs, and a Serbian film are the three that everybody talks about as being the top three best disturbing movies of all time that are kind of considered to be the tip of the iceberg when getting into the disturbing movie platform, we'll say, or genre.
All right.
Now, I know there are some out there way worse.
They're the Taco Bell mild sauce.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but they are because you go too far down into the disturbing movie iceberg, you start getting into like dark web snuff film territory, right?
No, I would have said Human Centipede.
You would say those are more disturbing than the three I named off?
Minus Serbian film, I don't think that Martyrs. See, I don't know the first one, but when I look at Martyrs and a Serbian film, I could see those being there. And since they're the tip of the iceberg, I think the gore in Terrifier, the woman getting hacksawed in half or whatever it was, the bedroom scene, I see that as that torture.
So Martyrs is in the same boat where it is very very much disturbing for the graphic side of it, kind of like your Hostels or your Terrifier 3s, right?
Yep.
Trauma is a little more along the lines of I
don't know Trauma.
I think it's on Tubi. It is along the same lines as Serbian film of that level of the shock value of certain things happening. Specifically the first like 15 minutes of Trauma, I think, is what makes people say it's on that disturbing movie iceberg. Because after that, it kind of chills out a little bit. I mean, it still has some rough moments, but it goes from being like Serbian film territory to more like Last House on the Left territory, real fast.
So I'm gonna pause this real fast. What is it with Justin Long being in every one of these goddamn movies?
Yeah, I mean, he was in, what was it, Barbarian? That was a little bit off the rails. He was in Tusk.
Was in Barbarian. Yeah. Tusk was another one. I was like, what? Jeepers Creepers. It's all of them. I mean, and that's only three, but there's still a lot more out there.
His career needs to be studied at some point. It's all over the place.
From those and Zach and Mary Make a Porno, he was the guy at the bar.
Waiting with Ryan Reynolds. He was one of the waiters.
He was
the main character, waiter.
Yeah, not to derail the entire topic.
Yeah, it is funny that he does make appearances in some of these movies. But my point is, so you said you've seen Martyrs. Now, which Martyrs did you see? The original or the remake? Because there's two versions. Okay.
The remake.
And you said you've seen Serbian film.
Wait. When's the original out? When was the original out?
I think the
Is that the
difference, it
2008
may
film, or is
actually
that the other
be
one?
the same, but
Oh,
one of them's in a foreign language and one of them I think is in English, if I remember right. It's been a minute since I watched them.
I've seen the most recent one then, because I think the 2008 one is the Italian one, or is it Italian?
Something like that.
Yeah, I've seen the original. I've seen the
Yeah.
second one, the remake.
So you and I
Looking
are
it up
both
now.
big horror movie buffs. Right? You're big on horror movies. I enjoy scary movies. If I'm picking a
I love
genre,
a good horror.
it's my turn to pick a movie night. I'm picking horror 9 times out of 10. Used to be I was real big on
That's why my wife and I don't
comedies,
watch
but
movies.
now I'm real big on horror movies.
Being
Yeah,
a serial killer.
I fully expect that to be the end of my story arc if this YouTube doesn't take off. Or maybe if it does take off and I get more connections, maybe that'd be the problem. But my point with this is, what do you think is the fascination recently with people and the disturbing movie category? Because I don't think you can put the disturbing movies necessarily in horror, because not all of them are horror, because there's not the typical traditional horror aspect to it, right? It's not a haunted house. There's not necessarily a slasher coming to kill somebody at a campsite, right? It's more of just worst case scenario for everybody, crazy off the wall things happening. Usually a lot of graphic things happening with people. But what do you think it is that has drawn this attention to it, that has got people so interested in the disturbing movie category versus just your traditional horror? Because it seems to be bigger, in my opinion.
You ready for?
Yeah.
Are you ready for my answer? Okay, watch this. Oh my God, I'm watching you on camera right now. Look over your left shoulder. Oh my God, what is that in your closet? That's where you look over there. Oh, look,
Yeah.
it's a ghost.
No.
Are you scared? You've become desensitized. If I would have said there's a masked killer back there with a I don't know, a Sith and, 3 of his buddies back behind you that are, dripping blood out their eyes that appeared out of nowhere, it's you desensitized. America or the world has desensitized. That's the idea. It used to be, oh my God, a ghost, boo, and people were scared shitless. Nowadays, it takes much more to get that same level of adrenaline, that same level of, physiological effect in the body.
So
That's what I think. Desensitization.
My opinion, I think between the Insidious movies and the Conjuring franchise and all the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Streets, the Halloween remake number 475, I think people are burned out on seeing the same slashers, the same ghost and demon style movies with it's always a jump scare, right?
Yeah.
Loud music, jump scare, something fell out of the closet, jump, like what you just said. But
yep.
The thing I think that gets people interested in the disturbing movie side is the disturbing movies don't require a supernatural entity or force of any kind. It is just people doing bad things to people. And I think that becomes more scary than something supernatural that we can't understand. Because you see in the news all the time about, people being Control-Alt-Deleted by somebody else in whatever crazy way. But you don't hear in the news that, oh, a ghost did this or a demon did this. It's people. And I think that...
You know why? Because those things don't exist. People do.
You can't necessarily prove that.
I
can
prove people exist.
But people do exist.
Correct. But there's more to go on record. There's more of those incidents being reported of people doing people things than ghosts doing ghost things.
Yes.
It's evidence.
I think it is scarier for somebody to... So perfect example. What was that? See No Evil? Speak No Evil. The one...
Speak No Evil?
One with McAvoy in it, the remake from the I think it was Australian originally.
Wait, what was
it?
One?
Speak No Evil, where it was it James McAvoy, He played Professor X.
Yes.
So it was him and his wife and their son meet up with this other couple and their daughter, but it turns out that they are kidnappers and that son's not theirs. They kill the families and take the kids, raise them for a while, cut out their tongues, the whole thing. That to me was more unsettling and terrifying because that family was traveling abroad. They weren't in their home country. They meet these people vacationing that they think are just like them. So they think, okay, we'll use the buddy system, link up here, do our friendly thing. And then things slowly get weird. They start noticing a few weird things, but they try to play it off like, no, that can't be a thing. And then, the climax of the movie, right? But that to me is a more terrifying, because I can put myself in that situation of if me, my wife, and my youngest were on a trip out of country and we bump into people that claim to be, Europeans or Canadians or Americans or whatever. And I think, oh, well, I'll hang out with you guys because you're in the same boat I'm in, only to find out that they are manipulating the situation to do what they want to do. Right?
I know how that movie works in Hostel.
That is terrifying. Hostel's another good one. Now, Hostel is, so I guess I should have said Hostel would typically be listed also at the tip of the disturbing movie iceberg. But you start thinking about things like that, and then you start thinking, I don't know if I want to travel anymore, right? I don't know if I want to go. My wife and I have this conversation all the time. We'd love to travel, but we don't want to go out of country because we don't know the laws, we don't know the people, we don't know what people are trying to pull. You hear all the time about Americans being kidnapped because they think they're going to be able to get ransom money out of them or get the president or whoever does to try to get them out by what any means necessary, and build a wall. It's just those movies to me are more terrifying than Jason coming out of the lake for the 35th time. Now, granted, I have nothing but love and respect for the OG horror icons.
Yeah.
Your Michael, your Freddy, your Jason, your Pinhead, though. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you literally have the Mount Rushmore on your arm of original, scary guys. But how many versions of that can we see before it's no longer terrifying?
And this is why, and you mentioned specifically the Conjuring, the Insidious world, and this is where I would go on a line and draw that line in the sand and say that The Strangers was far scarier of a movie than the Conjuring or Insidious.
The original Strangers, the first one.
Yes.
The first time I saw it, I thought it was the best movie I'd ever seen.
100%.
Oh my God,
and you're so back good. To the human nature.
The best part about that movie, spoilers if you haven't seen it since like 2010 or 8 or whatever it was when it came out.
Oh, say the last line. Say it.
She says,
go ahead.
Why are you doing this to us?
Why?
And they said, because you were home.
Correct. You know where I'm at right now, motherfucker? I'm at home.
No nefarious purpose of, we were summoned by a demon, blah, blah, blah. No, it was just, you happen to be the ones that answered the door.
It's a simple line that further moves the plot and the point of the movie. And it's scary.
Yeah. And that line, the first time I heard it, it'll send a chill up your spine of thinking, this is what happens when somebody does a random home invasion that you hear in the news all the time. This is what that can look like. Obviously, it's hammed up a little bit for Hollywood, right? With the stalking and all that. But if you think about it, if you're doing a home invasion, right? And you're just sitting at home, sitting on the couch, minding your business, you don't see the guy in the backyard looking through the window at you. You don't see the guy moving through the shadows quietly in the hallways, waiting for his chance to strike. That is terrifying to think about.
So I'm going to give you something even more terrifying. And I remembered this specifically. Did you know, this is where I'm really good at pulling stuff out of my rear end. The Strangers is actually partially based off the Ketty Cabin murders from 1981.
I did hear that they were based off of a true event kind of deal, or based off of true events that they kind of put together and turned into a Hollywood movie. But I think that is, so speaking on The Strangers, I think that's, after that is where they went off the rails, because 2, 3, and then the whatever these new prequel trilogy was just not.
Chapter 1, Pray at
Night.
Night.
They made it weird. They gave them like a whole weird backstory, and they ruined. If you're going to watch The Strangers, watch the first one and never watch another one, because after you watch the rest of them, it ruins the original. because that mystique of not knowing what they look like, that keeping them anonymous, not giving them a character name, they just called them Baghead, Pinup Girl, and I forget what the other one was, Susie Q or something, whatever, from the mask that they had. They gave them like little descriptors.
Baby, yeah.
Baby, yeah, maybe that's what it was. Baby doll or something like
Baby.
that. But it was so good. And then they ruined it by showing who they are later on and how they got started and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, what are we doing? The second one was halfway decent, but
Which second? The Prey at Night and the original continuity, or the reboot
the Prey at Night,
chapter
where
1,
they're
chapter
in the trailer
3.
park?
Yeah.
That one was okay.
Yeah,
it wasn't horrible. But after that, they just went downhill. But I think what made people latch on to these movies is, one, I think there is and I blame Saw and Hostel for this. There is a huge desensitization to gore in movies. So if you go back to the original Psycho, the Hitchcock Psycho back in the day, when they played that in theaters, people were throwing up in the aisles and running out of the theater because of that initial stabbing scene in the beginning.
That's so wild.
Today, we have a movie like Saw where a guy can have every limb on his body twisted around to the point that the bones snap. And you're just sitting there watching it like, you know what I mean? Because you're like, it's fake now. But when you get into disturbing movies, especially the ones that go above and beyond to look, not necessarily even found footage, but to look as real as possible, like they're not worried about being like super crisp 4K. They're more worried about looking gritty and grainy, and like this is something you could see like an old like found footage wartime movie kind of deal, right? Where they want you immersed in the moment, not, hey, look how cool this trap is that we came up with.
You want to get it right.
They want it to look as humanly real as possible.
Yeah, no, you want to get it right. I get it.
But I don't think just the wild Hollywood traps and crazy kills. So I'm a big fan of the Saw movies, or the couple of them anyway. You know, some of them are pretty bad. Not the traps, but the stories themselves got convoluted.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
But I was also a big fan of the Collector movies, which is kind of a Saw spinoff. Not really spinoff, but kind of that making. Same style killer, right? Only he didn't do it to teach people a lesson. He did it just because he enjoyed the thrill of the hunt. But as much as I enjoy those, I don't think that somebody's going to break into my house with a master's in engineering or a PhD in engineering and rig up my house to be a house of horrors while I'm sleeping one night or knocked out from gas. I'm more worried about what's going to happen if there's somebody, like, for example, right now, right? I got the big green screen behind me, got headphones on. My dogs are currently barking. I think they're barking at nothing. There could be somebody out there right now.
No, they're not.
I don't know.
Yep.
That to me is more terrifying than a doll rolling up on a tricycle asking if I want to play a game.
No, you're right.
It's at the point where now when I see a horror movie come out in theaters, I'm like, it might be okay. Like there's another Insidious getting ready to come out of the further that looks like it might be okay. There's a new Resident Evil coming out that looks like it might be okay. I'm not going to rush to the theaters to go see them. I'm going to wait till I can stream it for free.
I'll watch it for free. Yeah.
Because I'm not wasting $50 at the movies by the time I pay for tickets and popcorn and everything to get in there and be like, this sucks.
But for what it's worth, would you say that? So I guess that's not really a question. I would only say that if the story actually sucks. So there's a lot of movies that are out there I hate on. They're like, oh, that movie was terrible. It was this, it was that. And I'm like, but for what it was worth, the character development, or they moved the story in a certain path, I understood the plot. I knew the
Mhm.
motive. I understood this. To me, all right, cool. I get it. I understand the movie. I enjoy that. The movies that makes me go, wait a minute, what just happened? And I've got to come back like, an hour later after the movie and try to Google something or try to look up a synopsis. What really meant?
Yes.
What's your allegory there? What's your alliteration? What did that
Mhm.
mean? I never understood that because they didn't tell me. Because I was watching the movie for the movie's sake. But you got some people that tear that up. They're like, "Oh my god, did you notice every time there's the color red, this happens?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't
Yeah.
catch that. Oh my god, what?"
So a perfect
So I think things like that are
example
good.
of what you just said, the newest Silent Hill movie. What was it called?
Okay.
No, not Return to Silent Hill. That was the second one. What was the new one called? Was it just Silent Hill?
Uh,
I
I have to
forget what
look
they
it up.
called it. Or was it Return to Silent Hill? No, that was the second movie, right?
Yeah, Return to Silent Hill 2026.
Okay, it was Return. So that was one that was universally hated. Everybody talked a ton of shit about it. But my wife and I went and saw that one in theaters because we are big fans of Silent Hill. We played
We talked about
Silent Hill
this.
2 together. Was it a perfect movie? Absolutely not. Was the CGI a little rough in certain areas? Yes. But having played the second game, specifically the remake on the PS5, it was fairly close in the movie to the game. More so than any of the Resident Evils have ever been. More so than any Doom movie has ever been. And
Yep.
it got hated. But when we left the theater after watching the ending, and they did the same style ending they did in the game, where you walk out and you go, so did he die? Did he just go back in time to be with her? Or was this all just a metaphor for him being able to let go of his guilt and move on? Or was this all just his alcoholism? Did he die before he even got there in that car accident that it looked like he almost got into? We talked about it the whole way home from Columbus. It was like a half hour. We did not stop talking about it till we got home. Was it a great movie? Absolutely not. It's C tier at best, but it made you think more so than just, oh, here comes it's October 31st. Here comes Michael Myers with his knife looking for his sister. Oh,
Or
didn't
babysitter
get
or
her in
whoever
this
it is.
movie, but killed like 57 other people on the way to get her. And now they think they killed him. Roll credits. Oh, he's awake again. He'll be back next Halloween. Again,
Well, Jason Voorhees is the same
100%.
way.
Jason and Michael are completely interchangeable for the most part. One uses a machete, one uses a knife. That's about the only difference. One's a hockey player, one's William Shatner. That's the only
Solid.
difference.
That's solid.
But again,
You don't know my hot take on theories you got to think about?
what's that? Hot
Here's my
take.
hot take.
Hot
Here's
take.
my hot take on this. So, and you gave a good idea, and this is where you and I differ. If you enjoy the type of movie where you walk out and you want that theory and you want to try to figure it out, I don't want that. I want the movie to explain things to me. I don't want to figure shit out, an hour later, a month later, a year later. I want to understand the movie because I'm watching the movie for the movie's
Lazy.
sake. Now, here's my hot take. Grease.
Yes.
You seen Grease? The movie Grease, John
Yes.
Travolta? Okay. So, do you know the theory I'm fixing to talk
The
about?
theory where they were actually dead and them driving off in the car was them actually going to heaven.
At the very beginning of the movie,
Yep.
right? Like she drowns or whatever it is, right? So the theory is people watch this and they go, "Holy crap. Was she
Yeah.
dead the entire time?" I never got that. What do you mean? Well, she drowned at the beginning, remember? No. Oh my gosh, she did, right. Well, they're saying that the beginning scene and the end scene with the car flying out of nowhere, how do you explain that? So to me, I'm like, okay, that tracks. I can now check the box in my head that movie was her dead the entire time, and you can't change my mind because that's what the movie showed.
Yeah.
From beginning to end. So I don't want movies where I got to think. I want something that's going to tell me point and click, and I'm going to go.
That's again, like you said, is where we differ. I enjoy being left with that wondering what happened or what could have happened or why is the ending that they gave us actually the ending that they meant, or is there a theory there? Like that kind of stuff I enjoy more so than just here's your killer. He's going after these 5 teenagers. You know, one's a jock, one's a nerd, one's a skank, one's a virgin, one's
I know this movie.
one's of an ethnic race. Which one's gonna die first? Which one's gonna die last? Which one's the survivor? Like Cabin in the Woods, for example. You've seen Cabin in the Woods, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah. That's exactly 100%. What you described.
And that's the film theory that they, or the equation they used for every single horror movie from the 70s through like the 90s. Every single one of them.
The good trope.
Friday the 13th.
It's a good stereotypical trope.
Hell, even the Wrong Turns were kind of similar. The original Wrong Turn was a really good movie as well.
Elijah Dushku.
The OG Wrong Turn, yeah. Now, 2 through 7 were questionable at best, but the original was good. I've seen all of them. I've seen all of them.
They're all
My wife and I went through and watched every single one of them and gave them a rating one weekend because we were bored. I think they were all on Tubi.
And I think when you look at things like that, how they've progressed in the movies, it's exactly the same thing you're talking about with your topic, right? And I stand by it because we have desensitized from Wrong Turn 1 up to Wrong Turn 7.
Yeah.
Wrong Turn 1 was these guys in the woods getting killed by these guys. Wrong Turn 7 shows the cannibals like banging each other and then stopping banging and then go kill somebody. I'm like, I don't want to see that. It doesn't do anything to drive your story, but it tells you that's just kind of the world they live in. And it's sure. Okay. It's just what it is.
So again, the first one was along the same lines as what we just talked about with the disturbing movies of being that it's just people doing people things. So you go to the original Hills Have Eyes, you go to the original Wrong Turn because they are very similar. It is people that were mutated or whatever caused by whatever radiation, whether it was out in the desert or they were being experimented on in the forests of West Virginia, right? But it's the same thing. You had the 3 brothers and you had the family in the desert that were just trying to survive. They didn't go out looking for people to kill. People wandered into their areas and they're like, food, resources, you're mine now.
Yep.
It wasn't anything nefarious. It was just them doing what they needed to do to survive. That's what made it, I think, so creepy is that you could be, I'm going to go on a hike in West Virginia, or I'm going to go on a road trip through the desert and stumble into something like that. That's what made, I think, those movies so good and so scary for people and why they stick with people so bad. Because if you ask most people, what's, the most unsettling movie you've ever seen, some will say Wrong Turn and some will say Hills Have Eyes because they think, what if, what if I'm out hiking? I've thought before on sometimes I've gotten lost on back roads or hiking in the forest. And I think, somebody wanted to kill me out here. This would be a good place to do it.
I have said that so many times.
No witnesses out here. Plenty of places to dump the body. It'll take forever for somebody to find me. Animals are going to eat me.
Yep.
It's perfect. And that's why I think a lot of people have a fear of camping more so than what I think back in the 70s and 80s. I think it was the Jasons that made people, the Jason movies, the Friday the 13th, that made people scared to go to camps. But I think later on in life, it was the Wrong Turns and the Hills Have Eyes that made people think, I don't want to go camping anymore.
Let's take that a step further and say, do you think in the 60s and 70s, the Zodiac Killer had something to do with some of that fear?
I think it had a lot to do with the fear for like teenagers going out to, your typical make out point in the neighborhood, right? Because that's where he was picking them off.
That's what Jason Friday the 13th really built around right there. The whole premise of that the whole concept of that movie is because the camp counselors were doing that exact thing and not watching, poor little Jason drown.
Yeah,
and that's why the mom went off the rails there. Correct. That's fascinating to me.
So you think it's just the rise in popularity for disturbing movies. You think in a nutshell that it is just where people have become desensitized to the Hollywood gore. And I think you're right. I don't disagree, but I also think lazy writing in Hollywood and constant remakes and remasters and retellings of the same story is what's making people look at some of these smaller, lesser known studios that are putting out these straight to streaming or straight to video horror movies that are a lot of times, not all of the times. Let me be clear. I've seen a lot of bad
Sure.
straight to video horror movies, but there are some you find in there that are way better. I mean, what was it that just came out? It Follows was a great one that was done by a small theater or a small studio. And then you just had the
Obsession?
Backrooms, Obsession. That was the one I was trying to think
Backrooms?
of. Thank you. All three of those were great, but all of them came from smaller studios.
So, and here's where I think the other part of that comes, and I talk about desensitization. The other part of this becomes is, I think a normal horror movie, just a normal horror movie, can be forgotten. Nothing makes it jump out. But when you start upping the disturbing factor and the gore factor, or the what the F moment factor, that's when it clicks and it's like, holy shit, what a movie, you know? And I think of, like, again, the Human Centipede. That came out initially and I'm like, I don't want to watch, that sounds stupid. And then people start talking about, oh my God, did you realize a surgeon is doing this to people? And I'm like, what? Oh, okay. That right there, again, social media, we rise in technology, we rise in this AI, you can start seeing these things more prevalent that you couldn't see in the 80s and 90s. I think that also helps.
Yeah, I lost some love for the Human Centipede series. So the first one I loved. The first one I will watch anytime anybody puts it on. The second one,
that's the black and white one,
the second
right?
was black and white one.
So the first one's the prison?
No, that's the third one.
No.
The first one is the surgeon at his house with the two girls and the Asian guy.
Yes.
The second one is the short security guard in black and white with the crazy mother and therapist and everything that he does there, where he staples them all together and feeds them all laxatives. The third one is the one that's in the prison. So the first one, great. Love the first one. The creepy doctor, you know, the two girls that got stranded because their car broke down. You know, he turns out to be a surgeon, does the whole thing. Super, super disturbing. Again, people doing people things. The second one,
it's a good premise.
I feel like the second one, they just tried to make it as disgusting as possible. Because the first one, everybody always talks about the first time that the person in front has to void their bowels because of the way they're connected. That's the part that everybody remembers the most, right? And being disgusted by it. I feel like they got that reaction out of people from the first one and decided for the second one, let's crank it to 11, right? And just make it as crazy as possible. So the second one was not nearly as good to me. It was just gross for the sake of being gross. And the third one was just completely off the wall. Didn't make any sense.
The third one did not make any sense, correct. I had it confused. The second and the third one, I had them confused.
First one, incredible. So I'm going to ask you to wrap this one up. What would be your top 3 recommendations to people that want to get into the disturbing movie category? Somebody that's bored with regular horror movies, that wants something that will finally disturb them and gross them out and scare them and make them think. What are your top 3 suggestions?
And without, obviously taking it up to 10 at the very beginning, I think the Hostel series, specifically the first Hostel, in my mind, and maybe even Hostel 2.
You could say either one. They're the same movie, just boys versus girls.
Yeah. 3 was terrible. But I think the Hostel is a good one for the sake of, I think Strangers.
Good.
In the sense that it gets you going into that shock factor, the idea of why, the motive on why, without the gore, because you don't have to have gore to be scary, right? And then probably the first Human Centipede.
Okay. So I will say, I will also throw the first Human Centipede out there because I feel like it's a timeless movie that will always make you feel creeped out and grossed out without being too much to take in like the second one can be, right?
Correct.
So I would say that would be a great intro if you want to get into the disturbing movie category. After that, if you wanted to go to the next level of following that same vein, I would say Martyrs. Because it takes it up a little bit more.
It's a good ending,
Great
by the
ending
way.
For Martyrs.
It's
so
a good ending.
And another one that makes you think, right? And that's why I like it.
Yeah.
And then third, if you're ready to really dive in with both feet after watching those first two and you want to get into this, you could do either trauma or a Serbian film. Because again, they fall along the same category of style of movie.
And we didn't even talk about really so how good a Serbian film is. And I know we're wrapping this down a little bit. We're winding down. But when I think of snuff film, that's what I think of. That one, it reminds me of the movie Taken with Liam Neeson, but ratcheted up to a whole nother level.
Similar style of story, just a very different, unique set of skills.
Correct. It's more on the on what's happening to the behind the scenes, not focusing on the guy trying to rescue somebody, right?
Yeah, the ending for Serbia, the final like 10 minutes of a Serbian film will make you like the first time I saw it, like because I'm watching the movie originally and I'm like, I don't really see anything here that I haven't seen in something else. And in that final 10 minutes, I was just like, oh no, what is happening? But yeah, I think those would be my top three, technically four, because two, kind of like yours, there's two that you could alternate in there that are along the same lines. But yeah, that movie is, it actually got banned in Serbia for a while because of the title.
I had heard that.
Not because they didn't like the movie, they didn't like the way it made the country look.
It portrayed
correct.
Serbians.
They did not like that. But again, we've said it before, all publicity is good publicity. You know what I mean?
Oh, like 100%. You got to get in somewhere and get it going.
So the town that is portrayed in Hostel 1 and 2, it is a made-up town. So they shot in location in an actual European town, a small town. However, the name they gave that town, I believe, was made up to protect it so they didn't end up in the same category of people not wanting to go there because they're afraid that was real kind of deal. And we didn't even talk about like Cannibal Holocaust or Green Inferno.
Yeah.
Now those I feel like you need to, if you can get to the point where you can handle something like a trauma or a Serbian film, then you could probably jump into the Cannibal Holocaust or the Green Inferno, because those movies, they make my belly hurt because of the graphicness behind them and the grotesqueness behind them. But I mean, those two also get talked about a lot in podcasts and Disturbing Movie Icebergs and all that. So I didn't really want to get into them too much, but I feel like we should at least name drop them for the algorithm.
I mean, shout out to Eli Roth.
Shout out to Eli Roth for the Green Inferno, who he said that he made that movie because when he saw Cannibal Holocaust back in the day, he loved it. He thought it was some of the best storytelling because it tricked people into thinking that it was real found footage and that people had actually died. And the director was put on trial and he had to have the actors actually come in to prove they were alive so he didn't get wrote up for murder or whatever it was they were trying to get him for.
And that's your real first found footage film right there. I mean, it obviously it predates footage, the Blair Witch.
Before Paranormal Activities and all that.
Yeah, because you took it on a ghost turn, a paranormal turn, technically. But that's your first one, really, where it spawned it. I mean, you even look at Faces of Death, technically, was another one, but that's another late 70s, 80s. Yeah, good. That's coming back, by the way. It's coming back.
So what do you think it would take, final thoughts, what do you think it would take for Hollywood to recapture the horror genre, king title that is now gone to these more independent studios because they are pushing the envelope and doing things that are actually terrifying people and disturbing people and making people be interested again in the horror genre? Because I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing Paranormal Part 75, Insidious Part 18, Conjuring Part 37. Like, what is it to get Hollywood back to making horror movies that we could actually want to rush to the theaters to see?
So for me, it goes back to the shock factor, right? I want a horror movie that makes me. I like the idea of. This is contradictory to what I said earlier specifically. I like the idea of, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Is it real, or is this what's going on? I want to explain later in the movie.
Like
I don't want to
thinking during
leave
the movie,
not
when the movie's
knowing.
over, you want to be done. You want to be like, okay, that makes sense.
Correct.
Yeah. Good storytelling.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so during the movie, a good one specifically is you look at The Sixth Sense. That would always be an OG for me, in the sense that I had that sneaky suspicion from the beginning that there was something more going on. I just didn't know what it was, right? That's that twist. And I love M. Night Shyamalan, right? And that's why I really enjoy his movies like that, because it got me thinking. I think Hollywood needs more movies like that, where it gets you engaged with, holy shit. Now, the downside of that is if you're watching a movie with like somebody like my wife that has to go, wait, what just happened? And you have to stop and explain it. Then I'm like, did you not watch? So that's the downside. But for me, that's what I like. You know, it makes me unsure of what I just saw was real or not.
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't think Hollywood can regain the title of king of horror genre anymore. I think they got comfortable riding on the coattails of the Hellraisers and the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Streets, the Halloweens. I don't think the Paranormal Activities, the Insidious, the Conjurings, you know. I don't think Hollywood has the guts to take a risk with their money on a movie that is meant to be shocking and disturbing. I think they would rather do another sequel or a prequel or a reboot or a remake. I think they would rather do that than and guarantee they're going to at least double their money because people keep going to see it, versus taking a risk on a new director, a new story that nobody's ever seen before or done before. I don't think they're willing to gamble. And I think until they are willing to gamble again, because they gambled at one point, right? They gambled back in the day on the Friday the 13th, on Freddy, on Jason, on Michael, on Pinhead. They gambled on all that back in the day, and they have rode the wave ever since. They have become complicit in the genre.
I think your next step up for these horror movies is to continue with the psychological horrors. That's what I think.
I think the real people psychological horror is better, more terrifying than, and don't get me wrong, I'll put on an OG Friday the 13th every once in a while and watch it for the nostalgia and still enjoy it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I have nothing but respect for the originals. But times are changing, people are changing. The slasher genre is not what it used to be. People want to see something that could literally happen in their own homes, like The Strangers, or something that can happen to them out on the road, like a Hostel or a Speak No Evil, something like that. I think until Hollywood is willing to take that gamble on a high budget version of a movie like that, and I think too, what makes it even scarier for these disturbing movies is that they're usually done with lesser known or unknown actors. So it gives you that illusion of this could be just another everyday average Joe or Jane or whatever, versus, oh, Tom Cruise is running away from a mummy. This is scary.
Well, he's not going to die.
He's not dying.
This is what I talked about Justin Long earlier. This is what I like about this guy as an actor. He doesn't give a shit how his character turns out. He just wants to put out a good movie. If he dies or he gets turned into a penguin or whatever, he's fine with it.
Walrus.
It's cool. It's good. Correct. I didn't want to give any spoilers away.
I'll give it away because that movie's been out for like a decade, but it is super gross.
So good.
It's one of those that'll make your belly feel weird.
Super good. But yeah, and when you look at that, I'm like, oh, well, I see a movie with Justin Long, and I'm like, oh, obviously he's not going to die. And then you watch Jeepers Creepers, and you're like, wait a minute, what?
Yes,
or Jeepers Creepers 2 or whatever.
That is what made him so good in the horror genre. He was willing to die in Jeepers Creepers. He was willing to die in Barbarian. He was willing to get turned into a walrus in Tusk and not have a happy ending. They didn't undo it and bring him back to normal. He was left in that enclosure. Like he doesn't care. He knows that the horror side of it and the disturbing side of it comes from not having happy endings. but Hollywood is obsessed with always giving you a happy ending.
Yep. No, I agree with that. It shouldn't be. I don't like it, but yeah, I agree.
A horror movie should not have a happy ending. It can have the ending of one or two people survive, but you can see in their eyes they're traumatized from what they went through. Like, it's not like they just lived happily ever after, like the end of Cinderella or something. It is, they survived, Bambi. But now they are traumatized.
I stand by Bambi as a horror movie.
Yeah. The Reckoning, especially. Bambi the Reckoning from the Puniverse. That's a good horror movie.
That's good. It's a good drop on that one. I wonder if you're going to take it that far.
Yes. Okay. Redoing my suggestions. Blood and Honey 2, Bambi the Reckoning, Pinocchio Unstrung, and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. There you go. And if you want to throw a little razzle dazzle in there, you can go Popeye the Slayer Man. Enjoy.
I was about to say add Popeye. All right,
that's going to wrap it up.
Let's wind it down, bud.
That's going to wrap it up for this topic. Comment down below what is your favorite horror movie or disturbing movie. If we didn't list it already, or if you have seen any of these, let us know that you've seen them and what your thoughts was on it. Be sure to go give us a listen over on Spotify. Give us a follow over there, whatever it is that you can do. Check out the Facebook. Enjoy the new drop times at 4 p.m. now instead of 10 a.m. So now you don't have to worry about getting up early for those of you that stay up all night. Be on the lookout for the Rabbits in the Wild spin for the bonus episode. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Again, I'm getting sick and tired to have to tell you this. About 50% of you listening are not subscribed, and I will not stand for it.
The other part of that is we are slowly getting merch. I talked about keychains earlier. It's the small things, right? It's for us, it's a good thing. Obviously, we're not making any money on it, at least not right now. But it's the small things like that that really show the channel love, that show the brand love. If you would like something like that, please let us know. Drop some comments on any of those platforms. Let us know. We will do our best to get you some keychains or get you some stickers or whatever it is. In the future, you will see some shirts coming out.
When you say keychains, you're talking lanyards. The full length lanyards.
Oh my gosh, that is correct. Yes, I use the wrong term.
I just don't want people thinking it's like lanyard. A little like tchotchke rabbit hole roulette thing. It's a full lanyard.
It's a lanyard.
I don't know if you have one on you. I don't have mine with me.
I've got one right here. Sorry for the crinkle. It's loud.
Yeah, full size lanyards.
I don't know if you guys can see that.
Got the bunny logo, the Rabbit Hole Roulette, one spin, endless possibilities, our thing. Nice solid clasp. I have it on my keys, and it's not let me down yet.
But again, that's one of the things we're trying to really right now give away. We just appreciate the love that people are sharing. We like the interactions people are giving us. Hey, what is that? What does that mean? Right? You got a good story. You were at the store the other day, and somebody asked about the channel.
He said, "What pray tell is a Rabbit Hole Roulette?" That was a fun conversation.
And that's what we want to do with some of this stuff. So again, if you're interested in something like that, drop a comment, drop a note, let us know. We'll do our best to get it to you however we can when we can. That's all I got.
I think that pretty well sums it up. Once again, last time I'm going to tell you, you better subscribe. 50% of you listeners out there are not subscribed, and that's just ridiculous. How are you going to know when we drop a new episode if you're not subscribed? And ring-a-ling and the ding-a-linging bell.
Ring-a-ling, ding-a-ling.
But I think it's going to do it for episode, what is this, 4? Yep, 4. This will be 4, yeah?
Yes, 4.
All right.
Damn.
I think it's time to sign out, Tonio.
Halfway done. All right. That's all I got. Rabbits. See you
guys in the next one.